All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We've got more extension stuff to talk about. And since earlier today we did Devin Witherspoon, let's go ahead with Jaxon Smith-Njigba now. So, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is another Seahawks player who just finished up his third year in the NFL, which means he can be extended. And this is another player where I think that you are best off getting the extension done now. If you wait, the amount of the extension is only going to go up, and you also risk potentially, even if it's on a minor level, alienating the player in some way. I understand that he's coming off a year where he won Offensive Player of the Year, and there might be some people out there who say you should wait because he's probably not going to win it a second time. But I don't think it's going to reduce his asking cost or his asking price. I don't, even if he has like 1,600 yards next year, he's still going to want the same basic structure of what he wants now. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. All right, so let's take a look at the particulars on JSN. First, he has 1 year left on his rookie deal at a cap hit of about 4.6 million. So pretty low, a lot lower than Witherspoon's because he was a much later draft pick. Witherspoon was 5th, JSN's 20th. So 4.6, and then he has a 5th year option that you can choose to activate, and if it is activated, it comes in at 18 million. So will the team choose to use the 5th year option and then negotiate an extension? I don't know. In terms of just the finances, it's generally a good idea to do that because it pushes out the bigger cap hits down the line and buys you an extra year. But the player might seek to make up for that by negotiating for a shorter contract. So whether or not it's worth doing, it just kind of depends. All right, now all the things I said in the Devin Witherspoon extension video do apply here for the most part. So understand that if and when we extend JSN, it's not going to change drastically. Maybe it'll change it a little, but it will not drastically change the salary cap picture for the Seahawks in 2026. And if you want some proof of that, I don't have any super clean examples. But take a look at, for instance, Justin Jefferson, a wide receiver who got paid a ton of money a couple of years ago, extended off of his rookie deal. You can see the cap hits for the first 4 years of his career were pretty darn tame. And then that 5th year, which was the first year after the extension, was only 8.6. It was about double what the previous year was. So things did not really accelerate all that much. Things didn't even accelerate that much this year with 15.2. The Justin Jefferson cap hits don't really get out of control until this upcoming season, where it goes up to about 39 million. But you can see that the cap hits for Jefferson were kept relatively tame for not just his rookie deal, but also the first couple years of his extension. And then you want to look at CeeDee Lamb. Now, CeeDee Lamb, another guy who was drafted in a similar slot to JSN. Look at the first 4 years of his cap hits, low, rookie deal type money. And then in the 5th year, it goes up to 8.75. And then the next year, it goes up to, this was the most recent year, by the way, 15.3. And again, the cap hits don't really get out of control until this upcoming season where it goes up to 38. Very similar to the Justin Jefferson contract. The point I'm trying to make is that these contracts were structured in a way to where the early years post-extension we're not that expensive. So there's no need to give JSN an extension and then load a bunch of money into the 2026 and even the 2027 salaries. In fact, you can leave those numbers unchanged. However, because the cap hits on JSN for this upcoming year and then the hypothetical fifth-year option are lower than Witherspoon's, I think there is an argument to be made that maybe you would want to stick a little bit more money in the next couple of years because you want to try to keep the cap hit manageable in 2028 and beyond. Because the amount of the extension is probably going to be more than the Witherspoon extension. And the reason why I say that is because look at the way receivers get paid. They get paid more than corners, a lot more. Now, trying to fit in a JSN extension is kind of hard. Let's try to do it the best that we can, but it's tough. And the reason why I say that it's tough is because if we extend JSN this offseason, we are extending him earlier than most of these other players you see here. I've sorted by APY. Remember, the Bengals did all that stupid stuff with Jamar Chase where they made him wait forever for the extension. Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb got extended after year 4. Most of these players near the top here had to play out pretty much all of their rookie deal to get an extension. And in the case of guys like Jamar Chase, they really got pushed to the point where they really kind of damaged the relationship with the player. And that almost happened with CeeDee Lamb. These things do not apply to the Seattle Seahawks if they negotiate with JSN this offseason, because it will be after year 3. So things are a little bit different, and maybe we get a little bit of a break because of that. So my prediction would be I don't think that JSN is going to surpass Jamar Chase. Now, obviously, JSN is the current kind of like, if there were a championship belt that the best receiver in football got to wear and carry around, then JSN would have it right now. He won Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Super Bowl. He had the most production. He's the best receiver in football in terms of the year that he just had. However, is he actually a better player than Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? That is a little bit harder to say with any degree of certainty in my book. So I don't know if he's better than Chase. Now, under normal circumstances, I might say it doesn't really matter that much because he's next in line to get paid, him and Puka. So therefore, he's going to get more than Chase. But the Bengals' negotiations with Jamar Chase were so messed up and they drug it out for so long, I don't think it's going to get quite to that point. But I think it's going to get so close, there's not going to be much of a distinction. So when I think about a JSN extension, I'm thinking about something like 4 years, 160 million. So that's going to be about 40 million a year, which is just under Chase, but not really by much. And it's way more than anybody else. I just don't think you can get away from giving him ridiculous numbers after the season he just had. If he had had a good season, like 1,300 yards, maybe. And if he was a 1,300-yard receiver this last year, he'd still be a great player, but I don't think you'd have to push it up to 40. But now I think you're obligated to, and I think that he is going to be obligated to ask for it. So I think you're looking at something like that. But the same thing we said about Devin Witherspoon could also apply here. JSN has 1 year left on his rookie deal. We could use the 5th-year option, which would be financially beneficial to us. So maybe JSN will only want a 3-year extension on top of that. That way he can renegotiate for a new deal in 4 years instead of 5. Now, JSN's 24. He's still pretty young, so maybe he won't care. Maybe he'll be like, I can renegotiate at 29, and what's the difference? But it would not shock me if JSN wants 3 years, 120 million, which would be, again, just shy of Jamar Chase and APY, but the same basic idea. And I would be okay with that too. I would love to get that 4th year down. Gives you more room to push money around, gives you more room to stash cap hits, and it gives you a little bit more time before you have to renegotiate. But if he doesn't want that, then I'm not willing to go to the mattresses over it either. And 3-year extension on top of the 2 years he has left is fine. And as for guarantees, again, it's not really something I'm thinking about all that much. You can see there's a pretty wide range of guaranteed percentages for these receivers. I'm not worried about JSN suddenly not caring about football because he gets paid a bunch of money. So whatever it is doesn't really make a big difference to me. And yeah, big picture, just get it done quickly because we've got some players that are going to get extended sooner rather than later. And if you wait, especially if you wait a year, you're going to be probably having to beat out the Puka deal. You're going to have to be beating out a couple other deals, like maybe a guy like Devontae Smith gets re-upped, or maybe a guy like Jalen Waddle gets traded and then re-upped, and then you're going to have to just keep on accelerating things, and maybe it's 45 million at that point. And I don't want that, and I don't think you guys want that either. George Pickens is probably going to get paid at some point. If George Pickens gets paid this offseason, that's just going to add more money into the wide receiver pool that you're going to have to work to beat, because I'm sure JSN feels like, correctly so, he should get paid more than George Pickens. All right, so I think that's really all that need be said. So 4 years, 160 million. If you can get a little bit less than that, great, but I'm not expecting it at all. And if it ends up being 3 years, 120 million because of that 5th-year option thing, won't shock me. But either way, 40 million per year, I think that it's hard to get away from that number. And you're very, very nearly setting the market. But you should feel fortunate that you're not actually setting the market, because he is coming off an incredible season. Okay. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. And that's where I see things right now. Get those 2 guys taken care of, and then we can move on to making the rest of the team as good as possible.